Are you new to sales? Wondering what you should focus your time and energy on in order to be successful and have a long and fruitful career in sales? There are 11 different steps, tips if you will, that you can apply to how you sell, regardless of what your sales process is, that will ensure that not only are you successful in sales, you become a top performer. Hi, I'm Shawn Casemore, and I help you learn how to become a top performing sales professional so that you can sell more in less time, putting more money in your bank account. If that sounds good to you, make sure you click the subscribe button so you can get notified each and every time I release a new video. Let's jump into the tips. Whether you've just began a career in sales or you've been in sales a while and you're looking for something to brighten up your day, re-energize yourself, or even add a little bit of spice to what you're doing, there are 11 things that you can do on a regular basis, regardless of what you're selling, that will help you be successful. Here's the first one. The first thing I want you to consider as it pertains to being successful in sales is to plan your day. I know what you're thinking. Okay, Shawn, what do you mean plan my day? Well, most people, and this goes beyond sales, they use their calendar to run their day. And really their calendar runs them. What I want you to consider is that you run your calendar. So for example, if you need to set aside time to prospect every day, that should be blocked in your calendar. Not only blocked, but it's a meeting with yourself. Nobody else can interrupt that meeting, even your boss. That's right. So make sure you plan your day, block out time for the appropriate activities so that you can be successful. The second tip I want you to consider is that in addition to blocking your time, you really need to make sure that you plan out your days in advance of the day. Let's be honest, many of us start the workday by sitting down, opening up our laptop or our computer, looking at the calendar and saying, okay, what are we going to do today? If you're fortunate, maybe you've got a CRM that provides you reminders, maybe you've even got a notepad. What you really want to be doing is taking the end of your day to plan out the next day. Why? Because at the end of the day, we have a chance to catch our breath. We've gotten through the day, and there's a number of things still in our mind that maybe we didn't get to or we need to tackle. So the best time to plan tomorrow is at the end of today. So schedule your last activity of the day to set your plan for tomorrow. This might mean making a list. It might be updating something in CRM as reminders, or it might be updating your calendar, or all three. Regardless, success tomorrow means planning today. The third strategy that you can use throughout your sales career that will help you tremendously is to smile more. I know that sounds crazy, but I'm telling you, sales is about influence, and influence is created through emotion. One of the easiest things you can do, regardless of what you're selling, is to use emotional triggers to connect with other people. Regardless of their personality or their facial expressions, when you come in and smile, it creates an aura, of welcomeness, of hello, how can I help you? Can you imagine if I was to sit down with you and say, so I wanted to meet with you today because I had some very important information to go through with you? How engaging is that? I sound like a robot. So smile more. It improves your ability to influence others. Along the idea of smiling more is have some enthusiasm for what you're doing. For goodness sakes, use energy. You see, again, influence results from an emotional connection, right? Emotional triggers. And emotional triggers are created when we ingest or inject energy. Energy is our enthusiasm. So when you come into a meeting, make sure you're excited to be there. Even say to everybody, hey, I'm really excited to be here. Or, you know what, I appreciate you taking time to meet with me today. Enthusiasm creates energy. Energy helps influence others. So make sure you're enthusiastic in your meetings. Here's the next tip I want to give you. When it comes to interacting with prospects and buyers, even after you've made the sale and they've become a client or customer, be responsive. You know, so many people today are buried in information, questions, and details. You might find the same for yourself. But when you are responsive, meaning somebody asks you a question, they leave you a voicemail, they send you a text message, maybe an email, when you get back to them quickly, that sets the stage for what their experience will be like with you and with your company. So even if they've asked you maybe a really complex question or something that's going to take you a while to pull together, respond quickly and tell them, that's going to take me a little bit of time to pull together. The more responsive you are, the more you'll influence the buyer to believe that this is going to be a great relationship if they invest in your product or service. Kind of building on this idea of being enthusiastic, of smiling, and being responsive, way to be helpful. Don't think of every meeting or conversation as an opportunity to make a sale. Think of it as an opportunity to help. When you begin to help people, you'll realize that they're appreciative of the help, which then makes it easier to present what it is you sell. So for example, somebody contacts you with a question about your product. You don't say, well, look, I can give you a quote that will answer it. You'll answer their question. If they say, great, you might say, is that something you expected to find in our product or service? And then that builds a conversation. And from there you go, well, if it's of interest, I'm happy to quote out option A and B, then maybe we can discuss to see if it's going to be a good fit. You see, being helpful leads to the opportunity to sell.